רותם רפאל, אני מפתחת כבר הרבה מאוד שנים, כבר לא סופרים. בשנים האחרונות אני יותר בעולמות הדב-אופס, אני מתרגלת הרבה יוגה, אני רואה כדורסל, לא אופייני אנשים, זו אני. והיום אני בעצם הדירקטורית של הפיתוח בארמו. ארמו בעצם היא אחראית לפיתוח של Kubescape, שהיום זה האופן סורס המוביל, שאנחנו מדברים על Kubernetes security. זה ביג שוט, אתמול קרה לנו משהו מאוד מאוד מעניין, התכוונו להיות סנדבוקס של CNCF, אז זה מה זה מבסוטים, ואנחנו מזמינים את כולם לבוא ולהצטרף לחגיגה ו-to contribute, וזה סופר סופר מרשים וכיף. Okay, so once upon a time, there was a Kubescape panda that sat all day and all night. Just kidding, she had like a cron job or something like that. And she scanned over 10K clusters. And what she found is something really enormous, something really amazing, that 100% of the clusters were misconfigured. Okay, they had at least one misconfiguration, and around 40% of the cluster has 14 misconfigurations. So that's a big shot. And, you know, we can ask ourselves how that happened. So what I'm thinking, what I thought in my mind, that I need to go back in time. And basically, what we have all done is building a startup. Right? We're building a startup. I'm the CTO, I'm the CEO, I'm the developer, I'm the QA, I'm the DevOps, I'm everything. And, you know, I created my own domain, and they told me, like, just create your, you know, little microservice and you'll be okay. And I did that. And then someone told me, you know, Kubernetes is super cool. You must use it. You're having your microservices, right? So that's the only thing you need to have in your cluster. So I created my, I don't know, Minikube, EKS, something you think in your mind. And I just created it. Oh, so simple, right? Like creating it the first time, it's very, very easy. So, you know, seeing that slide, and we're realizing that it's not that easy, right? Kubernetes is hard to deploy, so we're sticking to default settings. And of course, when we're thinking about security, are you thinking about security when you're creating your first cluster? I think not. So the first thing that we are doing is creating the cluster with default settings, right? We're all creating the default setting. Where it comes from, you know, default Kubernetes configuration. It comes from Helm charts that we are downloading and just, you know, applying to our cluster. It comes from our kubectl edit that we're doing because we're not changing the IAC that we just created in order to create this cluster, right? So first misconfiguration that we are seeing, which is basically the biggest one, is don't use default setting, or if you're using those, make sure you know what you're using. And you will see that, you know, after that. So, right, I built a startup, right? I'm the founder. I'm almighty, right? I have like my microservice. I just got funded, right? I raised some money, and I'm hiring like a maniac, and admin for all, right? After I'm recruiting, I'm giving that one an admin and that one an admin, and I'm myself as admin, and we're all admins and happy. So we're all DevOps here, right? By show of your hands, who has admin privilege? Wow, nice. Okay, I made my point. So minimize the granting of admin, a cluster admin role. When you're giving the cluster admin role, we need to check it and to split it into two phases, right? We have the users and we have the application. If you're giving it to the application and you are very much aware of which application gets it, it's okay. But if you're giving it to a user, then he can do everything in the cluster. So minimize that. Make sure you're giving it to the application and not just to the user, of course, if you can. So let's move forward and don't run privileged containers, right? See? Okay. So containers with an access to run, they have like the root access, right? And what they can do is directly go to the host, and they can do whatever they want in the host OS. So we don't want to give all the container this privilege. We need to be very, very careful with that. And how do we do that? Very simple, okay? We have the pod spec, we have the privilege line, and we need to make it as false. So make sure your container is not public facing and try to verify the exec privilege for this container. Moving forward, block your unnecessary network traffic, okay? Who can say? I can say that 63 of our scanned cluster had access outside of the cluster, okay, and didn't have any network policies at all. Now, how do I create any network policies? Very simple. I can create it via my CNI. I can create it via service mesh. I can create it via ingress and egress configurations. And of course, you can just use the Kubernetes native, network policies. So again, did you know that it's something that I asked many of my DevOps friends, and they didn't know that. That's why I made this line. Did you know? Kubernetes secrets are not encrypted by default. Who knew that? Wow, a lot of you. Okay, so you know. So secrets, we're saving some sensitive data using secrets. And if secrets and config maps are not properly encrypted, then whoever has an access to our API, Kubernetes API, can do whatever it wants and just log in and take our secrets. We can see it also in the Kubernetes hub, right? In the documentation, the secrets are not encrypted. So what we need to do is first put your secrets in a secret object. And the second one is use some extra layers, okay? Extra layers, Vault, KMS, okay? All those kind of things are giving you another protection of your secrets. Okay, application credentials in configuration file. So, as I said before in the secret, we are saving our environment variables, are really secrets in the config maps, and whoever has the access to our cluster API can just go ahead and grab all the secrets and environment variable. In security-wise, that's a big no-no. So again, that's another one that need to pay attention to. So I know we all hate this slide, right? Hardening our Linux is something that it's really hard, but it has like a good reason. So harden your Linux. We all know that Kubernetes is now the new operating system, right? We're all saying that, we're hearing that in conferences, and we need to harden our environment. And how do we do that? We're using the SC Linux, the app ARMO, or the SCCom. We're having the security context section in our YAML, and we're just putting another gate, okay? So attackers cannot jump in and just do whatever they want. It's hard, I know, but we need to do that. By the way, from Kubernetes version 22, it's already built in. So you don't need to worry about that, but make sure you do have it. Going forward, do not expose your control plane to untrusted network, right? The control plane is the core of Kubernetes and gives the user the ability to view container, to schedule, to create new pods, do whatever we want. So if it's exposed, then again, attacker can jump in and do that. Control plane is exposed in port 6443. And, it's also, we are having some 8080 ports that are exposed. So block those ports with firewall, and that will probably protect your control plane. And do not forget to add the limits to the resource policy. I know that there are people that are saying that don't use limits, use just, requests sort of things. In security perspective, we don't want to have some DDoS attacks on our cluster, and we don't want someone to bomb us with a lot of requests. So we do need to have some limits, okay, on our resources. And last one, right? We need to protect our file system, our container file system. So an attacker who has an access to the container can create file, can download script, he can modify things, he do whatever he wants. He has like the root access to our file system. And I don't think that I need to say what can he do furthermore. How can mitigate it? It's very easy. Just take this line and add it to the security context. And if you need to have some access, okay, then just create like the volume mount with a specific permission to whoever you need. So I told you, all those misconfigurations are really good, and I found those in our cluster. I hope I don't find it in your cluster, right? But we will find some of them. And my point in this talk is not to tell you to find it just in your cluster. We're all talking shifting left, that's the main talk right now. I want you to find those. I want you to find those in your pipeline, right? Find it in your Git repo when you're writing the infrastructure as code. Find it in the code with extensions. Find it somewhere before it's getting into your cluster. That's just a diagram, okay, about how we can do that. We have like our code, then we're pushing to our repo, and we can have there the security gate. We are having our GitHub action, and we can check over there the security gate. Of course, in the image, in the container registry, and at the end, we need to find it also in our cluster. So Kubescape, as I said before, is doing this exact that. So try to use it, contribute to us, and thank you very much for being here. That's a real pleasure.